Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Linda Anderson, tapping expert and mindset magician at Tap Into Your Success. And I'm here today with the fabulous Julie Hall of Julie Hall Online and the School of Marketing. And Julie helps sole traders and small business owners build an irresistible brand online through mentoring, building websites and working directly with them to get their online marketing working brilliantly. She's worked in the world of digital marketing for over 10 years and was the founder of Women Unlimited, one of the UK's most popular women's business networks. And Julie runs regular workshops and meetups through her other business, the School of Marketing. You can connect with Julie at juliehallonline.com, where she shares the latest thinking in online marketing, plus other useful tips, tools, and tutorials. So welcome, Julie, and thanks so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you, Linda. It's my absolute it's my absolute pleasure. I'm thrilled to be here.
Great. So the reason I wanted to talk to Julie today was that I see so many really gifted and talented women and men who are passionate about what they do, and they know exactly what they need to do to take their business to the next level so they can reach more people and make the difference they want to make. But they find themselves procrastinating and getting stuck. And I've been there myself, and I know I will be again in the future, because every time we need to take a step up, and I'm sure Julie's found this too, it brings up all our self-worth and self-doubt, and we start to wobble. So you know how it goes. You set aside time to make a video or create a webinar or give a talk or reach out to a potential client or raise your rates, and you set the time aside, and then you think, well, I'll just see what's happening on Facebook first, or I'll just rearrange these email folders so everything's nice and tidy before I start. And before you know it, the time's gone. And that's when the tape starts in your head with the little voices. Who are you to be doing this? Nobody will want to listen to you. You don't know enough yet. Nobody's going to pay you for that. And all those self-doubts come up, and you actually start wondering, do I have what it takes to be successful at this? And it's so easy to look at other people in the field, you know, who seem to have all their ducks in a row and have got everything working fine, and you're the only one struggling with this. So Julie, I'd love it if you could help me bust that myth that this is an easy journey for everybody and there are no challenges along the way, because, you know, we know it's going to happen every time. Carry on. Tell
Yeah,
us a bit about your journey.
absolutely. I mean, I think coming up against challenges and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone is just an inevitable part of being a business owner, or any time you've got an ambition to achieve more than where you are currently. And I know, well, just to let your listeners know, I've been working with Linda for a few months, and it has really been amazing in so many ways. And hopefully we'll be able to talk about some of that today. But I know that actually being stuck is not unusual at all. Feeling like that you're spinning your wheels, like you're not getting anywhere, and just allowing that to kind of become overwhelming and take you over. And it can be very difficult to do anything from that place, I found, particularly when you're really in the depths of it. It's, you know, there's so many people that go through this when they're going through a transition and a change.
Yeah. And I guess that's another way to see it, Julie. You say, because you're recognizing it as a transition, because you're being invited to do something that is way outside your comfort zone that you've never done before. And on this journey, there are no guarantees of success, are they? We try something new. We don't know how it's going to work because nobody's ever done it before.
No, absolutely.
So you have to try and be open to the feedback.
Yeah, that fear of failure can be really inhibiting, right? Because, you know, our ego is constantly on our shoulder, kind of saying, you know, what are people going to think? Are they going to judge you for this? All that stuff gets wrapped up in it.
Yeah, and that drives me crazy, because that can drive you back to paid employment, can't it? And
Yes.
That's not what you're here to do, actually. You're here to express yourself. And for me, there's no division between the business as a self-employed person who's passionate about what they do. There's no separation between that business and you. You are the business. And
Absolutely.
It's just one aspect, one way of you expressing who you are in the world. So it's really important that we try and stay on track and find a way to handle this, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So how did you first begin to recognize, Julie, that it's not enough just to have a great marketing plan and even be taking the steps? If all your energy is not behind it, or if you can't get yourself to take the steps, you're not going to get very far.
Well, can I just kind of step back a little bit and give you a bit of my story, because I think that might help. So I used to run Women Unlimited, which was a very successful women's business community. We had over 20,000 women in the community. We ran a successful conference every year. I would get 250 people along. We did it at the BAFTA and the British Library. It was, by all accounts, a big success. And then I took a wrong turn. I decided to take the business in a direction that didn't really work for me, but also didn't really work for the business. And I spent a year building and growing and expanding the network out to a much wider audience, had other people involved in training, put a lot of my stuff online. And at the end of that year, I knew it didn't work. So I made the decision to close down that aspect of it. But once I'd done that, I didn't really know what else to do with the business. I didn't know where to take it from that point. So after another 12 months of struggling with it, I made the really difficult decision of closing it down. So that got me into a situation where I was all of a sudden, I had released a massive part of my identity. And I suspect this isn't much different from people whose children leave, homemakers who's dedicate their lives to their kids, or when you're in a corporate job and you make that transition into being self-employed and you're cut loose all of a sudden and don't know what to do with your time, like what's next. And that's kind of where I was. And I did try some different things over the next couple of years. It's probably been about 18 months now. But I did try some things. I ran a very successful online summit. I released an email marketing course, but nothing really stuck. And then last year, in 2016, I decided to launch the School of Marketing because one of the things I really love doing is training people. And that had been a really big part of Women Unlimited. But unfortunately, my dad had Alzheimer's, but he became very, very ill just at that point and then passed away in July, which kind of just threw everything. And I'd launched the School of Marketing at the end of May. So, quite close timescale. And he was in Canada and I was flying back and forth. So it was very difficult for that business to get any momentum.
Yeah.
And then after he died, it was very difficult to deal with all the emotional fallout of that and build and grow my business at the same time. And that's kind of, so about 4 months after that was when you and I started working together, Linda. And I just really felt adrift, completely lost. I didn't know how to get traction in my own business. I found it difficult to find the motivation to do anything. And from working with you and doing the tapping, it was like all of a sudden I'd been in this really dark place, and there was a light at the end of the tunnel. And even on our first session, I remember just being absolutely blown away by the stuff that we'd covered. I mean, I've done a lot of navel gazing and personal development stuff. And, I spend a lot of time in my own head trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah. But it wasn't until I worked with you that I found myself all of a sudden starting to open up to doing different things, thinking in a different way. And it was, so that's kind of a really roundabout way of saying, what brought me to that point was I knew I couldn't, I was not able to shift myself. My situation was felt so bleak at that time that I couldn't pull myself out of that hole.
Yeah. And I have a theory about that, Julie, because, we kind of churn all this stuff here in the conscious mind, trying to find resolution. But that's not actually where the problem is. It's in our emotional mind, our emotional body, the subconscious mind. And that part is all about safety and survival. And it's really, really powerful. I've got as my logo, the little mouse, the conscious mind, riding the elephant of the subconscious. And if there's any part of that doesn't feel safe going where you say you want to go, it's not going to go there. It won't let you.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that's so true, because one of the things that really came up for me when we were working together, which I hadn't actually even been aware of, was all the stuff and the baggage that I'd had around the decision to close Women Unlimited, even though it felt like a the right choice at the time, and I made it at a point when, you know, the business wasn't in trouble. I could have continued with it,
Yeah.
but it didn't feel like the right thing. There was still a lot of guilt, a lot of grief, a lot of sadness attached to that part of my life as well. And until I dealt with that, which, you know, I hadn't even been aware existed for me at the time. I thought I dealt with the whole closure thing. Until I dealt with that, I couldn't move on. And that was, you know, to your point about my subconscious saying, you know, you don't want to feel like this again. You don't want to put yourself out there again and create something new. If you're going to close it down, what are people going to think of you? They're already feeling disappointed about the fact that you closed it in the first place. And I know they are disappointed, because I get people telling me all the time how much they miss Women Unlimited. But that's not a good enough reason to continue with something. You know, you have to follow your own heart and your own desires and your own path, not necessarily doing what everybody else would like you to keep doing.
Exactly. And I think we need to find something that's completely in our flow and that allows that full expression of who we are in a way that suits us, you know, which I think people often find they will adopt the latest business model, the latest thing, to try and get themselves out there, and find it just doesn't fit with them. It's not in their flow. That actually happened to me. I was desperately trying to get this online program together, and it was like pushing a rock up a hill. I just couldn't pull it together, and it didn't light me up. That's why it just did not light me up at all. So it just felt like a chore.
Treacle.
Yeah, exactly. Walking through treacle. Yes. And the thing that I really love doing is working at that really deep, intimate level and going into the very darkest, deepest places to bring up this stuff that has just probably since childhood for most of us been keeping us contracted and afraid to be seen.
And you're amazing at it, Linda. Oh. So, you know, I mean, no, but genuinely, I have done a lot of stuff. I've worked with other people, and working with you brought up things that, you know, that I just didn't know were there. No. You know, going on that journey with you was,
we never get to them with this, do we, with the conscious mind, because things get wired together very early on, and we give a meaning as a child to things that are happening, mistaken meanings, but then those meanings run as our truth at a subconscious level, and we start to create our reality, our experience from those beliefs, you know, like there's something wrong with me. Everybody else has got it together, and why can't I? And there must be something wrong with me.
Yes, exactly. Because it's always us, right?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Always.
So, Julie, if you were starting out again on your business journey, have you got any tips to share with us? What would you do differently?
Ooh, starting out in what way? Well, starting out in a new business, or?
I guess in any situation where you're starting something new, particularly in business. For example, the things I wish I'd known then. I wish I'd known that it's not enough to be good at what you do, because I thought, you know, you get all the certifications and you get your business cards printed and you put your website up and then the phone starts ringing. And it didn't happen. I thought, where are my clients? There must be something wrong with me. I'm not good enough. I don't know enough. So I started doing more courses, you know. And then eventually I discovered that you need to know about marketing as well. There is this other thing called marketing.
You never know enough, Linda. Ever.
So to me, that was a bit like trying to fly with one wing.
Yes.
So then I got the marketing wing. And then I started realising, but I can't actually do what they're asking me to do. Part of me is too scared, you know. So again, if you don't address that inner piece as well as the outer piece, that is like trying to fly with one wing again. And you can get some traction, but it's a lot of work. And
it is a lot of work. Yeah. But one of the things I would say on that is the really big, there's two things. One is to really listen to that inner voice, you know, like whatever mechanism you use to do that, whether that's meditation, whether that's running, exercise, whatever, when you're in the shower, is really trust that intuition and don't ignore it. When you're doing something like marketing, I think one of the mistakes I see is that people are constantly following everybody else's advice and not doing the stuff that two things that's right for their business and right for them. So for example, it's somebody like you, somebody who really loves to work one-to-one with people. yes, it's useful to do online marketing stuff so that you can show your expertise and you can give people an opportunity to experience you. Something like this is brilliant because it allows people to see your face. You see how you work, you see your philosophies. But spending a lot of time curating content on social media, not so much, because that's not what's going to draw your client to you. Right. People are going to be drawn to you mainly through referrals, recommendations, experiencing you face to face, because it's such a personal relationship, the one that you have. So what I would recommend for someone that's just starting out is to really understand why people work with you, what it is they want from you, what do they love about you, what's your most attractive qualities. And that's not necessarily even you face to face. That might be the way that you support people through forums. It might be the way that you do graphics and create images and the way that you can inspire people with your stories. There is no one size fits all, in spite of what all the gurus would have you believe that their solution is the right solution. That's absolutely not true. And it's also not true in terms of the type of business you should run. I mean, you gave a classic example of this with creating an online course, right? I was at an event, in fact, one of my events, and this woman was saying to another woman, online courses, it's the way to go. You make money while you sleep, and it's, and it's brilliant.
There's another myth, Julie. Right? You make money while you sleep.
Who was she kidding, right? But creating and selling an online course, I think, is one of the hardest ways to make money. Much easier to have a service that people value, that people want. Go out and meet them and sell it and tell them about it. If you meet the right people at the point where they need what you've got to offer and your price is something that they are able to take, that you can do that tomorrow. Creating a course, putting all the technology behind it, marketing it, building up a tribe, doing all the stuff that works with that. My God, you've got 6 months of work at least doing that. The people that are successful with online courses are the ones that already have a tribe. They've already got over the technical hurdles and the marketing hurdles. They know who they are. They know what their voice is. They know how to connect with people. There is no way that's fast. So very roundabout way of saying, just be really clear on who you're talking to, what kind of business you want, what kind of time you're willing to invest, and the type of person that you are. And if you start with yourself first, not with the big idea, but start with you, who you are, where you are, start there and build from that point, then that's where you're going to be more successful.
And taking small steps along the way, not looking at people at the top of the mountain and thinking, oh my God, I'll never get there, because they've all been through the same journey.
I call it comparatinitis.
And it can paralyze us, can't it?
It absolutely is paralyzing. I even fall prey to that sometimes. I look at people, the people that are doing the 500,000 a year, £1 million a year, started at the same time as I did. But actually, the reality is there's two things. One, that's not the kind of business I want to run. If I'm really honest with myself, the money is what I'd like, but not the work and the business that has created that. That's not how I want to spend my time. And I think we don't spend enough time thinking about that, about thinking about how we want to be in our business,
getting clear
what
on that.
we want to be doing. Exactly.
Because it is a big part of our lives as well.
It is a big part of our lives. And I think, one of the things that was really interesting for me when we worked together, we spent a lot of time on creativity, because I create a lot of things, but have felt stuck in the past about how good my stuff is, and I get feedback all the time about how insane that is.
So your mouse hears the feedback, or our mouse hears the feedback, but the elephant doesn't feel it. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. But also, I think there are other things that are more in flow for me.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
while I'm good at it,
yes.
it is not easy. I mean, there's never a point when I'm creating stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's probably true. There's never a point where I'm creating stuff where it feels easy, where
Mm,
I'm relaxed with it.
mm-hmm.
There are other things that I do, like training. When I'm actually training, when
Yeah,
I'm live in front of a group, that feels easy. It feels
you're
natural.
totally in
That's
flow.
when I'm in my
Yeah.
flow, but not the
Mm,
creation phase. So knowing that is it goes a long way, I think, to helping me decide how I should be and what I should be doing, how I should
mm-hmm,
be spending my time in my business.
mm-hmm.
Um, and it's important that you can figure these things out for yourself if you really want to find the right balance
Yeah,
in terms of the activities that you're doing.
yeah. And this is a lot of the work you do with people, isn't it? To help them get clear on how to get themselves out to market, how to
Yeah,
build their
that's
online presence.
yeah. So, but I do it. Interestingly, I've actually really gone back to my roots. So I'm in the middle of a pivot at the moment, where I really thought about what's the stuff that is so easy and useful that I have that can help people. And I've realized a lot of it is about helping people overcome that technology side of the
Mm,
business. So it's about getting their lead magnets set up. It's about doing their landing pages, doing their websites, helping them make their online presence beautiful, doing all the stuff that goes around the marketing and helping them by doing it, either doing it with them or supporting them and helping their team do it so
mm-hmm.
that they're actually doing it really well, because
Yeah,
lots of people do it but they
don't
don't
do it
quite
well.
hit the mark, dare I say.
Yeah,
So I just help them finesse it, polish it up, fill in any gaps, and then go forward, as well as doing some of the training and stuff and the mentoring. But
yeah,
it's kind of a three-pronged approach. One is helping people do it through mentoring.
yeah.
Another is actually doing the bits for them,
Mm-hmm.
and then another is managing the bits for them. So
Yeah,
that, and depending on the business and where they're at,
yes.
depends on where they want to come in on that process.
That's great. So this is one of the wings, isn't it, that we need as if we're going to build a successful business, we need that expertise and we need that kind of support to keep moving with it and keep growing.
Yeah, I think it's so easy for people to get stuck in trying to do it all themselves when
Yeah.
it's not their
No,
thing,
and it's
you
such a
know?
waste of their time.
I mean, I used to, I would build websites for fun back in 2001 in
Mm,
HTML. Like it's like when I
right.
needed a creative project, I built a database web-based recruitment website for a magazine as a fun project. Right? Most of the people that are listening to this would be
Oh my
going,
God, I'm going, oh my
what?
God, what does she do?
So technology for me,
Yeah,
I
that's your
love it,
zone of genius.
right?
Yeah.
That is
One of
my
your
zone
zones
of
of
genius.
genius. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's easy. It just, it's like I can read,
Yeah.
I can work with it. I know how it works. And whereas somebody like you are so great at going in and going deep with somebody and helping them find their, hidden things that are inside
Mm.
them. But not everybody can do what you can do.
No,
So,
and that's the other wing, isn't it? We need to do that inner personal development work to match the outer, and the outer is not really going to take off until you start shifting this inside, because you're
yeah,
not really in alignment, you're not congruent with the steps you are managing to take, and the steps you need to take you probably can't, because it's
exactly,
at the
because you're
edge of
so
the
stuck
yeah.
doing stuff that's,
Yeah,
that's
and I like
what
to
you should be
reframe
doing.
that as not those things that hold us back. They're not obstacles to me. They're opportunities to grow into more of who we really are.
Yeah,
Because we could be in paid employment and yes, occasionally be stretched outside the comfort zone, but on the whole, we can jog along and not have access to all this really deeply hidden stuff
yeah,
that totally colours the way we experience the world.
yeah,
And usually, from the mistaken perception of a child who gave a meaning to something that happened a long time ago.
yeah.
So, it's time to clear it all out so we can all get out there and shine the way we're meant to and do the work we're put here to
Exactly,
do. Yeah.
exactly.
So, well, it's been great talking to you today, Julie. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Um,
Oh, thank you, Linda.
if people want to find out more about you, I'll put a link underneath the video. Anything else you want to say about that?
Yeah, so you can find me at my new website, which is
Oh,
juliehallonline.com.
brilliant.
Or Twitter is at Julie Hall Online. Facebook is Julie Hall Online. Instagram is Julie Hall Online. So if you want to
Fantastic.
find me anywhere, just search for Julie Hall Online and I will be there.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Julie, for sharing today.
Thank you, Linda. It's been
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.
So if you found this video helpful, please like it and share it and sign up to this channel. And come on over to tapintoyoursuccess.co.uk and sign up for email updates. Wishing you every success in all your ventures. Bye bye for now.